Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Benzel and welcome to a special Pokemon XY anime discussion. Today we're going to talk about the gym battle between Clemont versus Ash since it's coming in a few days. I hope to upload this before the gym battle, otherwise my video is going to be outdated, but hopefully we'll get right into it. We're also going to discuss Goodra's future a little bit as it relates to the gym battle. But first, we have some data broadcast Pokemon that need to be explained to you. These are Pokemon that are going to show up in the upcoming episodes. We have some goodies and some interesting speculations, so we're going to discuss that before we get into the gym battle. So let me just click here and find out what's going on. The last episode that I told you about was the Scary House's Hospitality, and I'm pretty sure you saw an image there. We still don't have any more information as far as I'm aware, although I haven't really looked in the threads to see if a summary has come out. Apologies, but anyway, that one was episode 72, I believe. Hold on. Yep, episode 72. So, this is the start of the broadcast Pokemon. At XY73, we have an episode revolving around a Bagon. I don't know what that would be, but since there's no indication of what's going to happen with that, I think it's a filler. Could be interesting. We'll have to see. But for now, I think we're just going to have to leave that as a filler episode, maybe a fun one. I mean, I can't expect a relevant episode to happen so soon, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, after the episode 73, episode 74 has to deal with Spritzee, which now kind of goes back to Bagon. Maybe it isn't quite as filler, but still nothing really relevant happens, kind of like that Vanillite episode that debuted Ramos. Maybe the Bagon episode will debut Valerie, and Spritzee or Bagon will display certain battle traits or whatever, such as Dragon types being weak against Fairy and Fairy being immune to Dragon types. Which then goes into episode XY74, which has to deal with Spritzee, and I think we conclude that possibly the episode with Spritzee may indeed be the gym battle with Valerie. I have my ideas on that, and I don't really like it because that means that Ash is only going to have 4 Pokemon when he battles Valerie, and even though Frogadier, Pikachu, and Fletchinder possibly could take that chance, or that battle, it's going to be a very lackluster battle because it's just going to mirror, it's going to reflect the gym battle with Grant, except with evolved Pokemon, with Froakie and Fletchling evolving into their respective evolved forms. So, I'm hoping it's not the gym battle, but it could very well be. So let's move on to the next one. Let's go on to episode 75, which has to deal with, hold on, where is it? Trico! That's right, everyone. Shota, or whatever the Trico trainer's name that we saw in the opening and we saw in episode 64? I think so. Because I haven't really seen the Jessie Wobbuffet episode because I really don't want to. But I don't think that was it. I think it was episode 64. I think that's when Fennekin evolved into Braixen. I think it was in that episode because I remember seeing that episode. And I remember seeing the Trico trainer. So since it revolves around Trico and the only Trico trainer that we are aware of is Shota from the opening, as well as the challenger who challenged Clemont, we can possibly say for sure that Trico's trainer, Shota, is going to appear in episode 75 of the XY series. So then, what do we have? XY76. Now, this one is very interesting. If you're not aware of it, there was a Pikachu short, and in that short, there was a Noibat. Well, surprise, surprise, episode 76, which is before the movie, has a Noibat in it, which means it seems like we're going to get Noibat as a capture. Whether it's Ash, Serena, Clemont, Jesse, or James, it seems like Noibat is going to be caught within the team and be used. Now, as for that, based on what we have here, based on the following episodes afterwards, I actually have to think that it is going to be Ash that catches this Noibat. Now I realize that, yes, Noibat and Serena would make perfect sense, and for some reason James needs to have a second Pokemon for whatever reason, as if they actually need any more Pokemon, because they always lose anyway. I really don't know how variety is going to help them lose any worse or better, however you want to look at it. But the reason why I think that Ash is going to catch Noibat is because if episode 74, which involves around Spritzy, which might revolve around Valerie, if that really is the gym battle, and even if it's not, there is still the problem of Ash only having 4 Pokemon if we go back to episode 70, the episode where we all should believe that Goodra is going to be released. Which means that Ash is only going to have 4 Pokemon on his team. And like I said, those 4 Pokemon have been in gym battles so many times right now that it really wouldn't be a benefit to seeing them again. Which is why I always thought releasing Goodra before Ash caught his 5th Pokemon, or his final slot Pokemon opening up another slot, wouldn't have made any sense. Kind of like Gliscor being released for Gible. That would have been a perfect time to release Goodra had that circumstances happen in this case. But no, Goodra is apparently being released before Ash is capturing a 6th Pokemon, which means it's trouble for the balance of Ash's team. Now, catching Noibat might make Ash's team a little bit more unbalanced, but at this particular point, they really should have thought of that before they released Goodra, before having Ash capture another Pokemon. And, however, I do have to realize that maybe they're releasing Goodra for the sole purpose of catching Noibat. I think I've already discussed the possibility, although I'm not really sure if it was in an episode or not, that maybe Goodra is being released for Noibat, as ridiculous as that sounds, to make up for the fact that they are releasing Goodra in some fashion or another. I mean, I'm not saying it's 110% fact that Goodra is being released. I mean, there is no concrete scene that says Goodra is going to be released. But at this point, it's pretty much confirmed. I mean, the bio on Ash's team, or in the movie, has not updated. The opening has not updated since Slagoo's evolution into Goodra, or since Gumi evolved into Slagoo and never mind. Braixen, you know, we didn't even see Goodra, which makes me wondering why they didn't do that. Gumi evolved into Slagoo before Luxio and Fennekin evolved into their respective Pokemon. At least I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because 61, 60, no, hold on. Not 60. No, yes, Gumi evolved into Slagoo the episode right before Luxio evolved and got Clemont into the Lumio City Gym, and then it was then there was the Jesse episode, then Fennekin evolved, then Slagoo. So I have no idea why they didn't update the opening to add Goodra in the opening when everything else was revealed, especially when Fennekin evolved in the episode right before Goodra. Which means the fact that they don't have Goodra in the opening update and it's only a Slagoo means that they didn't care to bother to add that because Goodra is being released. If Goodra was not being released or was just being shelved for the moment by going to Sycamore or Professor Oak, I have a feeling that Goodra would be updated within the opening as opposed to just Slagoo. Anyway, to make this story short, I think Noibat is most likely going to Ash because if Spritzy is the gym battle or is not, Ash is in desperate need of another Pokemon. And right now, the following, 3 episodes after Noibat's evolution that we're aware of, I think. Let's see. There might be 77, 78. Okay, so maybe we only know up to 78 in terms of the data broadcast Pokemon, but none of those Pokemon look like they're going to be caught by Ash. So unless we get a surprise within an episode, it doesn't make any sense for me that they would hold off on Ash capturing a Pokemon, especially when they reduced Ash's team by releasing Goodra in the first place. Like I said, I wouldn't have been happy, but I would have accepted a lot more had Goodra been released once Ash already had his 6th or 5th Kalos caught Pokemon. Depending on how you want to look at it. Whether you want to count Pikachu or not is one of the slot members. The point is, this releasing Goodra at this particular point in time is negligence as far as I'm aware in terms of the writers, if Noibat does not end up catching with Ash, or Ash captures something else. If we have to wait until episode 80, 10 episodes after Goodra's release, or even longer before Ash will actually capture another Pokemon, then I would have failed to see the reason why Goodra was being released. Let's hold off until the even more pointless reason for Goodra is being released, especially if we take in consideration of the gym battle. But before we get into that, let me finish off the data broadcasting Pokemon real quick. After Noibat, we end up with a Starly episode, which means it might be a Noibat development episode right after, because why else would Starly be in there? Maybe we're getting another air battle. Now, like I said, this might indicate that it might be Serena, because Ash already had a sky battle with his Fletchling, Fletchinder, and Hawlucha, so maybe Starly might indicate that Noibat might end up catching a Noibat as training for possibly a performance. The reason why I bring that up is possibly the following episode, which I think is the last episode that I see with any data broadcasting Pokemon, has to deal with Meowth. And the reason why I think that is because I think Jessie is going to use Meowth in the next performance. Which means that if Serena does capture a Noibat, it might mean that the Starly episode might be some development for Noibat. Even if it is a sky battle, it could still end up, or an air battle, sky battle. One of those. Skyla had that other one from the 5th region because the writers of the anime thought it would be interesting for whatever reason. Let's have an air battle, a sky battle. That's just me imagining how the battle's going to go, and you get a bit edge or not, depending on the circumstances. Anyway, the point is, it might be possible that Starly is definitely development for Noibat's capture. Again, I can't say for sure that Noibat is going to be caught. There is no title for these episodes yet. They're just data broadcast Pokemon, so it might not happen. But due to the fact we have a data broadcast Pokemon for episode 76, and it's before the movie, and we already know Noibat is going to be in the Pikachu short, I think we can say for sure that there is a higher percentage possibility of Noibat being captured. But we're not the writers, we're not the anime producers, we can't exactly say 100% sure. It could just be a red herring or whatever. But anyway, as I'm saying, I think the 78 episode dealing with Meowth is the performance, because I think Jessie is going to use Meowth for that performance. And hopefully that's the case, because I really do not want a Meowth-centered episode right now. Not right after Ash released Goodra and they're wasting an episode. Like I said, if Ash has not caught another Pokemon by episode 60, it would just be straight up negligence for why the writers would release Goodra. They may want some space between Ash capturing Pokemon, but releasing a Pokemon and leaving his team with the same 4 Pokemon he had before he caught Gomi, except a single evolution within Froakie, is just straight up negligence, because Serena and Clemont's team has changed. Because, while I'm not really sure when no, I think Froakie evolved before, no. Regardless of the case, having Goodra release and having Ash wait for a long time before he captures another Pokemon is considered negligence on my in my perspective, from my opinion, because it seems like Ash's team did not develop at all, except Froakies evolution. So anyway, this isn't the primary aspect of this particular episode, and we're already at 15 episodes, or 15 minutes, so let's move on to the gym battle. Now, as I've probably already said in other videos, the battle seems to be Clemont with Luxray, Heliolisk, Bunnelby versus Ash's Pikachu, Hawlucha, and Goodra. Now, based on the trailers, which you will see scenes of, sorry, I don't think I'll be allowed to show you the trailer within a picture-in-picture like I have sometimes before I've done that from like my special or whatever, but the point is, the way the battle seems, what I have a feeling is Pikachu is going to battle Bunnelby and win and be called back for Goodra versus Heliolisk. Then Heliolisk is going to use Dragon Tail on Goodra, sending it back and forcing Hawlucha out into the open. Maybe Ash didn't want to use Hawlucha, but Ash has no choice now. And is, well, based on what happened with Lenora in regards to Roar, then I would assume that Hawlucha was going to be a favorite choice, but I'm not really sure. But the point is, I expect Hawlucha to come out and do really well. Based on the trailers that we've seen, Hawlucha seems to be outpacing Heliolisk. Heliolisk seems to outpace Goodra, but Hawlucha seems to have the upper hand, which might imply Hawlucha might end up beating Heliolisk. Then we get into the confusing part in regards to Luxray. Now, seeing as how at this particular point it seems that Bunnelby and Heliolisk did not do anything during the battle, except maybe a tie with Hawlucha, it seems that Clemont might have some issues here. So I expect Pikachu and Pikachu and Hawlucha to lose to Luxray to make up for Goodra and Luxray and being amazing, which means all three Pokemon of Ash's team will get a win. Now, there are some speculations that this isn't going to be the case. However, based on the trailer, what we know of, this has to be the case, except the possibility Hawlucha doesn't get a win, but Pikachu does, or whatever. But the point is, and this is the main reason that I stress that I am annoyed and irritated by the release of Goodra. Now, you have to remember from the perspective of the writers that they chose this path. They chose this destiny. Now, looking at it from a fan's perspective, the story of Goodra doesn't really matter. The point is, why would they release Goodra? Well, one aspect, and the only aspect that would make sense, is because Goodra is overpowered. And it would be detrimental to the story to have Ash with this powerful Pokemon, as seen when Goodra demolished Tierno's Pokemon with Raichu and Wartortle. But here's the problem. Goodra has to be at least one Pokemon of Clemont for that to actually be the case. Otherwise, Goodra is going to be completely pointless. Some speculation based on scans has Pikachu beating Luxray as the final Pokemon, except the problem is what we know of, what we've seen, that is, even if that was the case, it means that Goodra is not going to get a single win against Clemont. With Pikachu beating Bunnelby, Hawlucha doing very well against Heliolisk, possibly even beating Heliolisk, and having Pikachu then end up beating Luxray, makes the reservations that giving Ash a powerful Pokemon has no merit. And therefore, if Goodra does not get a win in Thursday's gym battle against any of Clemont's Pokemon, I don't care if it's Bunnelby, Heliolisk, or even Luxray, if Goodra does not help Ash in any way, it would be horrible writing by any sheer standards of measure. It would have to be the most awful writing that I have ever seen within the anime. And here's a few reasons why. One, Goodra's capture by Ash, or Gumi's capture by Ash, evolving it into Goodra, makes no sense whatsoever. Because Goodra would not have benefited, would have not helped Ash win the Voltage Badge, which would be the only primary reason why they gave Goodra to Ash in the first place, to make the battle between Ash and Clemont electrifying, and yes, pun intended. And that is a serious problem, because if that was the case, then Goodra would definitely have to beat something of Clemont. If it didn't, then it wouldn't have mattered what Ash caught or used during that battle if it was only going to be Pikachu and Hawlucha that got wins during that gym battle. He could have used Frogadier, Fletchinder, he could have caught Phantup and Go-Goat. So therefore, they're suggesting to me, they're implying to me that they wanted a kick-ass battle, a badass battle between Ash versus Clemont, and they're not going to do that with Goodra versus Luxray being the final battle, and they're going to resort to Pikachu yet again? Are you seriously kidding me right now? I would be perfectly okay if Goodra beat Heliolisk at the least, because at least then Goodra would have contributed to something within the gym battle. But if Heliolisk is being beaten by Hawlucha like I think is going to happen, and Pikachu ends up starting against Luxray, then the whole idea of Ash getting Gumi and fully evolving it doesn't make any sense. At this point, Clemont and Serena probably would have been a better choice. Now, there may be reasons why they wouldn't have done it, because Clemont would have used Goodra, and Ash would have been screwed beyond belief, and Serena may have been too much of a beginner trainer to actually do anything. And then, therefore, Ash was the only choice to do this. However, the problem then becomes there would have been no point in giving any Pokemon to Ash for that sole purpose. Sure, it may have been nice character development and story, but it would be sheer and utterly pointless that Ash had to get involved with this particular storyline the writers created if there was no meaning, there was no point. And this is under the assumption that Goodra's release is going to be permanent. Not going to show up against the Kalos League, not show up in any of the other gym battles. But if Goodra is permanently released, Goodra does not get a win against Clemont, then its entire existence serves nothing more than pointless writing, and ends up being horrible writing in any imaginable way. Which is why I'm hoping that the writers are not completely brain dead, and that they're actually going to have Goodra beat at least one of Clemont's Pokemon. Which is why I stress that even though it could be Heliolisk, that based on what I've seen in the trailers, Hawlucha doing so well against Heliolisk, and it's not likely that Goodra is going to be able to beat Heliolisk. Based on that information, I have to conclude that it's going to be Goodra versus Luxray. Like I said, I would be perfectly fine with Goodra beating Heliolisk, because at least that would have been some contribution within the actual gym battle for why Ash has Goodra to begin with. But if Goodra does not get a win, as I've said many times in this video now, then the entire battle will be completely pointless. Well, not the battle, sorry. The capture of Gumi, Sliggoo, and Goodra will have been completely pointless, completely without relevancy, and that will annoy me so much. If the gym battle does not turn out like I expect, with Goodra beating at least one of Clemont's Pokemon, even Bunnelby, for crying out loud, I am going to be super pissed. I am going to be unbelievably pissed that the writers would do this. The writers have done this before, but I thought they were over this. Over the point of capturing pointless Pokemon for no point in perspective. You know, they could have done this with any Pokemon. They didn't have to write for Ash to capture a Pokemon, train it, use it in a gym battle, it loses, and then it gets released. They didn't have to choose Goomy, Sliggoo, and Goodra for this. I think they only chose Goodra because it's the most powerful looking Pokemon ever, and it's a pseudo-legendary. But I still think at least Aegislash would have been interesting. You know, at least that would have been cool. Then maybe Ash could have caught a Goomy and evolved it and kept Goodra. But regardless of the reason, Goodra has to beat one of Clemont's Pokemon. It has to. Otherwise, I fail to see the point. No matter what you come up with, no matter how you try to explain it to me in the comment section, there would be no purpose for Goomy's capture. None. I mean, outside of maybe favoritism of Ash with Goomy that the writers have or the executive producers have, but they realize that they don't want Ash with the Goodra for the whole entire series because they somehow learned better, then I'm not going to see any particular point. Now, I realize that there may be favoritism in regards to Ash's team within the actual producing of the anime, but this type of favoritism, you would think it would be a little bit better than this, that they wouldn't have created this particular storyline. However, one person might argue that the reason why this particular storyline exists in the first place is so that Ash could quickly evolve Goomy into Goodra. And I would agree with you, but there is one factor that you have to take into account. That storyline could have existed without the needless release of Goodra. So, anyway, but before I say that, there is one theory that I want to address here. If Goodra does not end up getting a win against Clemont, then I pray that Ash doesn't release Goodra. Because if you're seeing this before the gym battle, and you watch the gym battle and you see Goodra not beating a Pokemon, not taking down one of Clemont's Pokemon, I'm sure you're going to feel how angry I am. I'm gonna scream loudly enough that I'm gonna shake the whole entire earth and become Super Saiyan and blow everything up. Oh, sorry. I've been watching Dragon Ball Z recently, so anyway, sorry about that. Okay. No. Fan art? No, just kidding. I don't have enough subscribers for that, I don't think. Fan art. Dustin as a Super Saiyan. just kidding. Sorry. Well, let's go back to Pokemon here. Okay, we'll go back to Pokemon. So anyway, like I said, this needs to happen. I don't care if Goodra beats Heliolisk or Bunnelby, as long as it contributes in the battle. And just damaging the Pokemon is not going to be enough for me, because as far as I'm concerned, that damage it would have contributed would have been negligible anyway. Otherwise, it would have won, and we wouldn't have needed Pikachu or Hawlucha taking the wins, because it could have easily been Phantup, Skidoo. Yeah, I know, that's what the dub calls it. They call it Skidoo. I don't know why. When parents or adults talk to children, they don't go kidoo, they go kiddo. Hey, kiddo, what's going on? Kiddo, what's going on? You know, Skidoo. Yeah. Maybe I'll skidoo them and correct them. I mean, it may actually make sense. If I'm not mistaken, skidoo is some sort of action that might have to do with running or jumping or hopping or skipping or something like that. Or just running fast or whatever. So I can understand some leeway here. But anyway, yeah. Skidoo? Whatever. I don't know. I don't know why that would be the case, but anyway, let's just... I think that covers it. Don't worry, I'm not going to rage in a video. I mean, I'm sure you want to see my reaction of Goodra losing without beating a Pokemon, but I'm not going to do that because I would probably risk getting a copyright strike. I think I'll be fine now because I think the images that I'm using falls under fair use as a result of telling you the news, criticism, and reviews and stuff like that. So stuff like, oh, it's coming back again. No, so Yeah, so I think I'll be fine otherwise. I'm not going to do commentaries. I'm already watching a Pokemon commentary on YouTube, and I've already gotten aware that they've already gotten a copyright strike for whatever reason, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stick with news, reviews, criticisms, and everything of that nature. So, writers of the Pokemon anime, if you're the dub, then relate this to the Japanese, or Japanese writers, if you are listening to this as a result of translator, you better pray. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do anything. No, I'm going to be stuck in the United States. Well, Dustin's never allowed to go to Japan because he was being threatening. No, it was just a joke. I wasn't being serious. Anyway. But anyway, that's what I expect for the gym battle. I really wanted to get this episode before the gym battle because this was being mentioned in Cerebi forums, and I'm still not commenting on or whatever about this particular path of Pikachu beating Luxray, and I had to stress the importance of Goodra beating a Pokemon in this video to make up for the fact that I'm not going back to Cerebi forums. I don't care how many times the moderators beg. Anyway, I think this does this particular video. Thank you for watching this particular video. Please let me know what you think of my thoughts on the subject of anything I've talked about. If Noibat is being caught, who do you think's going to be captured? Please don't say James. Please don't say James. I do not know why everyone wants James with the Noibat. I mean, do you hate Noibat that much? I'm already annoyed that James has Inkay, and Malamar is one of the coolest Pokemon within the X generation that I'm sick and tired of seeing Inkay lose all the time. At this particular point, I think my opinion of Inkay is actually diminished as a result of James. That's what happens. Even my opinion of Pumpkaboo, I mean, I thought it was cute because it had a cute name, Pumpkaboo. You know, but then Jesse caught one, and now my thoughts of Pumpkaboo aren't as great. I mean, Pumpkaboo is still kind of cute, but I've cared less. Let's just say, from before, I've cared less about Pumpkaboo. But I will say this. If it's between Phantup and Noibat, and James has to capture one of those Pokemon, then I would have to accept James capturing a Noibat, because I'm not going to be happy if James captures a Phantom. I'm going to be even more pissed than the pointless capture of Goodra if it doesn't beat a Pokemon of Clemont's. I'm going to be super utterly pissed if any character captures a Phantom that isn't Ash. Let's just put it this way. No. At this point, I would rather it just be wild and barely shows, because that would be the best scenario. I don't want Serena with it. Clemont, no. Jesse, James, no. A rival, no. I know that's not fair, but I don't. You know, I would be fine if it actually showed up one time with the character. But if it's a wild Pokemon and it's going to get caught, Phantom better be caught by Ash. But anyway, I rambled a little bit more than I wanted to intend to. So anyway, so tell me what your thoughts are within the comments section. Hopefully I can communicate with some of you people out there. Please talk to me. Please. Okay, anyway. So, after the... I don't know if it's going to be after the gym battle with Clemont. I may want to wait until more titles are released, or even Goodra's release is out, which should be April 26th. I don't know if we're going to get any titles before then, but we probably might. But it all depends on what's going on. Anyway, I'm probably going to upload an outdated character discussion on Serena and Clemont and Bonnie really soon as well. So I guess look forward to that. So right now, until there's more information coming out, or new information, or whatever the case may be, I will see you in my next XY anime Pokemon discussion, or maybe another discussion of Pokemon otherwise. So I'll see you later. Goodbye.